Hello, welcome to another episode of the Kicksmare Pigeon. At the start of the new year, there were massive sales on good old games. Many of the classic id titles are heavily discounted. With money in the bank, I decided to take advantage of these discounts and get id's offerings. I brought Doom 1, 2, and 3, along with Wolfenstein 3D, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and Quake 3. The whole bundle cost around $30. For classic nostalgic games that had a massive impact on me as a PC gamer, the price was well worth it. Shortly thereafter, I've installed Quake 3 on my Windows 7 VM and VMware Player. It runs very good. Q3 Arena is running at 1024x768 and I haven't detected any performance issues. The virtual machine has 3D acceleration support provided via my Nvidia GTX 950. Quake 3 is a very fun and intense game. At this point, I must also admit that I never played Q3 that much back in the day. Back in the early 2000s, I was much more invested in Unreal. Even now, as much fun as Q3 is, I still prefer Unreal over it. Despite that though, Q3 was not a bad investment at all. I'm getting my money's worth. While I haven't played that much Q3 back then, I played its variations constantly. id Software released the source code of Q3 many moons ago, and there has been many games based on the Q3 engine, but yet using their own assets. I've played many of these games constantly throughout the years. Open Arena quickly comes to mind. Years ago, I played Open Arena when I was using Ubuntu 7.10 on my PC at the time. The computer had a dual-core AMD processor and 1.2GB of RAM. I recently created a Ubuntu 12.04 virtual machine with 3D acceleration. I had a nostalgic kick for the classic versions of Ubuntu. I was running the 64-bit version of Ubuntu and I allocated 6GB of memory to the VM. Far more than my PC at the time. It's amazing that one can create virtual machines more powerful than actual hardware from years past. For a game based on the Q3 engine, that is well more than enough. One of the first things I did after installing Ubuntu was install Open Arena. It ran very well within VMware Player. Eventually I'm going to do several gameplay videos of Open Arena in action. I'm also going to do this with the various games based on its technology. This includes Alien Arena as well. Another open source game comparable to Open Arena and Quake 3, Nexus, is another game based on its tech. It's alright. I'm going to visit this game as well. One needs to remember that there are ports of these games for Windows and Mac OS as well. They're not just restricted to Linux. Another title just not restricted to Linux is Urban Terror. While most of these games incorporate either futuristic or space-themed mayhem similar to Unreal, Urban Terror is a tactical ops game more in line with Counter-Strike. One can either play the terrorist or counter-terrorist in this game of tactical ops. I will visit this title in the distant future. As I said before, the Starbucks hipsters on their MacBook can experience the bloody mayhem that they've been missing out on. Mayhem that many Windows and Linux gamers have been experiencing for many years now. Will they be faint at heart, or will they embrace the intense blood sport wholeheartedly? Intense blood sport it is. Body parts and blood trails are thrown across the screen in epic gameplay as one fights for dominance. Those not on top of their game are going to get pulverized quickly and be made into a laughingstock by their unmerciful peers. As one can probably tell, this game was really designed for multiplayer action. I can make the very safe assumption that the vast majority of those playing this game do so for multiplayer. This game, along with Unreal and Counter-Strike, started the shift to the online multiplayer experience. Wolfenstein 3D didn't have any networking support. id Software introduced it in Doom. Networking in MS-DOS was never the most intuitive of things. But those brave enough to edit their autoexecute.bat and config.sys files to enable networking support were in for some hellish death matches. Death matches that were also hellish on the network hubs that quickly got overloaded as Doom was actually very poorly optimized for multiplayer gaming. Despite this, the evolution of LAN gaming improved to the point that by the start of the 2000s, it would become the norm. The process of me connecting to the most populated deathmatch server so I could quickly get my rear end handed back to me started. It was still all fun though. I had no issues connecting to these deathmatch servers from within the virtual machine. This is where this video is recorded. As one can probably tell, this is a very intense game. Also, me getting killed on a constant basis is going to be a common theme for these videos. However, Q3 is a really awesome game and one well worth playing. Quake 3's legacy would be guaranteed when id Software released the source code for it. Q3 lives on, while its engine is the basis for various other games worthy of mention. If you enjoyed this video or my other ones, please like and subscribe to the Kicksmare Pigeon.